Hello everybody, welcome back to another Five Nights at Freddy's news video. So, I know I'm a bit late. I am going to cover the Dorko interview. I am briefly going to cover the Dead by Daylight stuff. But I wanted to wait till today because of this, the Mimic Mondays. Now, if you remember, last week I did a video on the first one, and I did say this is probably going to continue, and it is continuing by the looks of it. So, this looks like a little order form, which, I mean, at first, when I first saw it, I kind of guessed, oh, is this going to be like a fun little pre-ordering thing? I actually haven't checked that, that might be it. But, let's look at the post. Have you ordered Five Nights at Freddy's Security... Not Security Breach, that came out years ago, fuck. Have you ordered Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic yet? Don't worry about filling in the body type. Murray's Costume Manor will take care of that for you. Hashtag FNAF, hashtag Secret of the Mimic, hashtag Mimic Mondays. And if you ask me, that's telling me, just from that little header alone, that the Mimic Endos in the game's universe were, even if they weren't originally designed for it, were at least adapted to be used for pretty much all the costumes that would be required to have an endoskeleton inside of them. But that is just the title alone. What about the actual pink slip? Murray's Costume Manor. This order form is your receipt. It guarantees that the costumes specified below are being manufactured for you. Present this order form to the front desk 3 months after your initial order date to receive your costumes. Order form, order date, pickup date, purchases name, body type, quantity, requested materials, requested details, special functions, 2 times original fee. And so that begs the question, is this just a nice little well-building little form? Or is this going to be kind of why there is so many different little things in and around the factory? Because from the trailer, we know there is thousands, maybe not thousands, that's a bit dramatic, but there is dozens, if not hundreds, of different projects going around. And from the studio interview, which again I will get onto that, they hinted that there is even more than what we saw in the trailer. So yeah, I do think that is rather interesting that the Mimic Endos in the game's canon are going to be used for actual endoskeletons inside the costumes, because in the books, I mean, you could argue this could fit into the books as well. I think it'd be a bit harder because it's kind of implied that after Edwin destroys the Mimic in rage, after it's mimicking David after his death, that after that, all the Mimic rather, not done by Edwin again. Edwin doesn't touch it. It's less implied by the actual story of the Mimic. It's more implied by the storyteller. I mean, you could argue that in the storyteller there was kind of a hint about there being more stuff to do with the Mimic. I think if you do argue that, that's a bit of a stretch. It can be argued, but between the storyteller and the Mimic, it is very, very implied that you have the Mimic mimicking David. David's dead, by the way. David gets hit by a van. Which I feel you probably know that if you're watching a Secret of the Mimic news video this far into it, you've probably followed quite a bit of it. If not, welcome to the franchise. It's complicated. Now I just have this image in my head of like the Facebook kind of relationship status with FNAF, like dating Five Nights at Freddy's relationship status. It's complicated and full of fucking headaches. If you're watching this, you probably already know the story, but to recap for the 1000th time, basically the story of the Mimic is that you have Edwin Murray. His company is bought out by Fazbear Entertainment, and he's doing a lot of work for them. But to keep his son David interactive and kind of busy and preoccupied, he makes this endoskeleton called the Mimic, which does what it says on the tin. It mimics actions, and it goes all well until David wants to play ball, wakes Edwin up, and then before Edwin can really get up and ready, he runs out with his Red Bull. It might not have said Red Bull, but he runs out with his ball, and he unfortunately runs into a road and gets hit by a van, and Edwin kind of finds him as he's running out into the road, and there is nothing Edwin can do. David gets hit, dies, and then a couple weeks later, in a fury that the mimic is still mimicking David, even after David's gone, dead, Edwin destroys the mimic. Fazbear Entertainment employees come in, they take over the factory, and they are killed one by one by the mimic. They find that there's a team previous to them, and that sometime in between this and where we left off with David and the mimic and Edwin has gone rogue, he's gone missing. We don't know what has happened to Edwin. There's a lot more stuff with the storyteller, but you don't really need to know that for Secret of the Mimic. If you do want to know about that, I strongly encourage you to read the books. I mean, you will be dropping quite a lot of money, but I'm pretty sure that there's a box set, probably, of the Peter Black stuff, so you might be able to save like a few quid. Anyway, if not, there is plenty of like online resources with summaries and stuff. I'm sure the wikis have them. I haven't actually had to look for them because I have the books. But from what I know, I'm pretty sure there are summaries out there. I'm pretty sure the wikis have them. Anyway, yeah. So it looks like that in the games universe, instead of it being just the mirror gets destroyed and no longer being used, it looks like Edwin then, well, presumably Edwin, we don't know it's Edwin, but presumably Edwin then uses the endoskeleton mimic or endoskeletons within the costumes. We don't know. That is speculation. Like I say, it does seem kind of out of character for Edwin. But anyway, I'm going to stop that because I could go on for quite a while with this. I did that last episode, but I have got other stuff that I want to talk about. Now, one of the things that has come out within the past weekend is the Dead by Daylight collab with FNAF. Finally getting a trailer for that. Now, I don't know pretty much anything about Dead by Daylight. I know a little bit about it. I know the rough basics, really. So I don't think I'm qualified to really talk about it that much, but I do know FNAF. I know Springtrap very well. Love FNAF 3. Love is a strong word. Let's have a look at the trailer, because I know bits, but I've tried to stay clear of spoilers. Alright, let's get into it!
What are we doing with Five Nights at Freddy's?
Yeah, okay, so let's start and reveal our new killer.
I wonder who it could possibly be. I definitely don't know anything at all. Okay, so we've got an office. And a Springtrap. Oh. Okay, that is giving me huge FNAF VHS vibes. I believe it's the Afton Archives that kind of reminds me of, which I don't think I've reacted to on the channel. I was on my to-do list for a while, and then I've kind of moved past reaction and stuff. I'm not a massive fan on doing reaction videos, with the exception of like new stuff, because it almost feels like cheating. But we're not talking about that. But it's giving me huge VHS vibes, and I do like that. Springtrap looks great. There are other stuff as well. Like here we have the special skin, which is Matthew Lillard as William Afton or the Yellow Rabbit in the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Like I said, I'm not really gonna go too much into it. If you want to know more about Dead by Daylight, watch someone who's got more knowledge about Dead by Daylight, or watch the 9th anniversary broadcast for yourself. It's always nice to watch that kind of stuff. But I know Matthew Lillard, this is a clip that I have seen circulating around on Instagram of Matthew Lillard recording some of the lines for the Yellow Rabbit. I know PJ Hayward is going to be recording the main Springtrap stuff. Definitely going to be the movie Pizzeria that they're going to use for the map. I know there's a survivor. I'm presuming that's a survivor. That kind of looks like Mike from the movie. I'm guessing it could just be a regular security guard. It kind of looks like his outfit he has when he's the security guard. Yeah, and it looks really cool. I don't know much about Dead by Daylight, but this looks phenomenal. I love this. This looks really cool. I love it. Again, I don't know much about Dead by Daylight. I can't really say much on it. That's cool. I like the ball pit. That looks kind of cool. Kind of funky. And all the like neon lightings give me big security breach vibes. But yeah, I don't really feel qualified to talk about the Dead by Daylight stuff. But one thing I do definitely feel qualified to talk about is the Dorko Secret Mimic interview with Steelwool. So I have got a shit ton of notes, as you can see, as usual. And I'm going to I separate this into 3 categories. We've got the gameplay, release/development. I know that's 2 categories. But I'm going to be totally honest, there was only like one really release kind of thing. So it's like, it can kind of be development. I'm going to be referring a lot to my notes. If you see me like looking to the side, that's why. I realised I did that a lot in the past simplified episodes, which, sorry about that. Anyway, let's get into the gameplay section first. So, Ethan Lampai. So, Ethan Lampai, I may be mispronouncing the surname, I'm really sorry. It is spelled Lampi, so I'm presuming Lampai, it might be Lampi. Lampi just sounds wrong. If that's the correct pronunciation, I'm so sorry. But he says that he's going to be a lot less linear than Ruin. It's annoying me having that. I'm going to hold just like a journalist. But he says it's going to be a lot more, it's going to be less linear than Ruin, which, if you remember Ruin, the free DLC for Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach, that was very linear in the fact that apart from kind of at the very, 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 very end, there really wasn't much to diverge. Like, there was a couple of bits where it felt like, okay, possibly this was meant to then branch out into a possible another ending or something like that. But it wasn't finished. Like, I know there was something to do with Chica's beak, where if you like get this ridiculously high score on Chica's Feeding Frenzy, which I may be wrong. I think you might have had to like glitch or something to actually go and play it. I might be misremembering it. But you have to like get a ridiculous high score in that. And I know in an interview with John from FNAF that Steelwool was saying that Cassie's character was meant to be more the pacifist, and that she was going in and she was fixing the animatronics or redeeming them. So I don't know if that was just simply to link him with that, but it almost felt like that was going to branch off into something else, like another ending or a secret little route that you could do. But then maybe they decided at some point, whether like early into development or late into development, they didn't want to implement it, but they had the cheek thing and they were like, you know what, this fits in with Cassie's character, this works, we're just going to keep it in. It's a nice little thing for the fans to do, which is very cool. I like that they kept it in. Now the next bit I want to go on to is this poster that Steelwool gave Dorko, which is of the data driver which we saw in the trailer, and it says locked out, your data driver is the key. And you've got different keys on that, and you've got a little padlock on the screen. And I mean, I think quite a lot of people were quite right in saying, oh, it looks like almost like an early version of the Faz Wrench. And Evan did say that that is intentional. It's not unintentional. That is a deliberate design that they've done, and it is going to be used for like opening stuff, puzzles, that kind of thing, a lot like the Faz Wrench. Now this next one kind of goes into lore as well, and there's not confirmed, I mean basically confirmed, but not outright confirmed, that there's almost certainly going to be multiple endings. And the reason why I'm saying almost confirmed is because they said Golden Path, and if you were going to ask me, that would probably be the kind of lore accurate canon way that the game is meant to be played and like meant to be completed for the story. But Evan did say that you don't have to follow that path. There's other little paths you can go. Now the reason why I'm saying it's not 100% confirmed there's different endings is because Evan later says about there being secret passageways and hidden rooms and stuff like that. So it could be that those are the like other paths, and it's like you can go off and find Easter eggs and then kind of link back on the path and stuff like that, and you don't have to follow this one direct path. Or it could be a bit like Ruin, where it's like basically this one path and then right at the end there's like a fork, but they all kind of have that same end result, which, I mean, that would then be different endings. Or it could be you've got the golden path, which is what Evan called it, and that's the canon way. That's the canon story-driven way, and like that's one ending, right? And then you've got like different paths that you diverge at some point, and it takes to a different ending. And then there'll be another one that can have a similar but different ending, and stuff like that. Then the final bit that I want to talk about for gameplay is this poster. Where do you belong? Basic, security, repair, creator, admin, executive. Your data diver knows. Now, this isn't confirmed whatsoever, but it's kind of given away. Let's call it an AUA, an accidental undirect admission. But it could possibly be a way to unlock different areas. These different symbols, the square for basic, the little diamond for security, repair, etc, etc. Because Dorko was like asking, oh, could this be to do with how we get to different areas? Could this be to do with like an executive area and like a creator area and stuff like that? And obviously Evan can't really say much, but Evan Lampard did then say, like, that's one way to look at it. So it kind of implies, it doesn't confirm because you know, like he can't really say either way. But to me it kind of sounds like, yeah, you got it right. I can't confirm it, but you got it right.
I will say, if you've read the books, you don't know the full story.
So, is that saying the books are canon, but it's going to be explaining a lot more and it's going to give a lot more context? Is it saying we're going to take a lot of ideas from the books, but it's going to be a lot different? And I'm leaning more towards that because I feel it would be very hard to kind of take the kind of Tales of the Peaceplex books and then kind of put it as, hey, this is the actual story, here's the books, these are all canon now. Or at least the Mimic line would be canon, which I know would just be chaos, but the books in general are chaos. Yeah, I feel the Tales of the Peaceplex kind of stories about the Mimic, it's kind of hard to really then add more to make it kind of a, you don't know everything, and then just be this one little detail like, you don't know everything, the Mimic actually has 3 toes instead of 2.
Do your job!
Like, I feel it's got to be something quite big if they're like, oh, you don't know the whole story. I wonder if it's kind of a, maybe the books are just going to be kind of like, hey, here's the backstory about Edwin, and then we're going to go into the game and we're just going to get more to do with the Mimic, and it's not going to focus as much on Edwin. Which I feel that may be the direction they're going into. I hope that they put more to do with Edwin in the game, but we're going to have to wait and see. And that's pretty much everything to do with the interview that I really wanted to talk about. I thought it was really cool that we kind of had more information about it. I really like the interviews. I encourage you to go watch it. You probably already have. It's been out a couple of days. I just wanted to wait until Mimic Monday came out so I could just put it all into one video. Cause otherwise it's like 3 different videos. Well, probably 2. If I didn't do a conglomerate video, I just wouldn't have talked about Dead by Daylight. Because like I say, I don't know anything about Dead by Daylight, really. In the grand scheme of things, it's not something that I am knowledgeable about. Like I say, don't have anything against it, just haven't got into it yet. So yeah, it's kind of like, I wanted to put it all into one video, so I hope you did enjoy. If you did, leave a big fat thumbs up, and maybe leave a subscribe, please. And I will see you in the next video, because I'm sure we've got more Mimic Mondays and more news down in the pipeline. So I will see you in the next video. Goodbye for now.